In the dark shadows, in the white cold, fearlessly we search for knowledge new and old. We drink the strong spirits and read ancient tomes, the order of the Abercast. We are the brave and bold. Ot's Chim, the Tree of Life. Before we can understand the significance of any individual sephirah, we must grasp the broad outlines of the Ot's Chim, the Tree of Life, as a whole. It is a glyph, that is to say, a composite symbol, which is intended to represent the cosmos in its entirety and the soul of man as related thereto. And the more we study it, the more we see that it is amazingly adequate representation. We use it as the engineer or the mathematician uses his slide rule to scan and calculate the intricacies of existence, visible and invisible, an external nature or hidden depth of the soul. It is represented, as will be seen, as a set of 10 circles arranged in a certain pattern and connected amongst themselves by lines. The Trinity are the 10, the circles are the 10 holy seiphiroth. And the connecting lines are the paths, 22 in number. Each seiphiroth is a phase of evolution, and in the language of the rabbis, as they are called by the 10 holy emanations, the path between them are phases of subjective consciousness, the paths or grades by which the soul unfolds its realization of the cosmos. The seiphiroth are objective, the paths are subjective. Let it be recalled again that I am not expounding the traditional Kabbalah of the rabbis as historical curio, but the structure that has been raised upon it by generations of students, initiates, all of them adepts, some of them who have made the Tree of Life their own instrument of spiritual development and magical work. It is this modern Kabbalah, the alchemical Kabbalah, that has sometimes, as it has sometimes been called. It is, and it contains all manner of things besides traditional rabbinical lore, as we will see in due course. And this is from the Mystical Kabbalah by Dion Fortune.
The Abercast. Occult. History. Conspiracy. Violence.
Hey, this is John Towers. Welcome to the Abercast. Again, I'm John Towers. This is the Abercast. Thank you for tuning in. This is going to be kind of like our expanded introduction to the Kabbalah. We're going to be reading from Dion Fortune's book, Mystical Kabbalah, tonight. So let's just get into it, shall we? Fill up your glasses if you got them. Glasses if you got them. We're going to get right back into it. Here we go. Let us now consider the general layout and significance of the tree. it will be seen that the circles which represent the seiphiroth are arranged in 3 vertical columns. See, you can download the plan for the intro to the Kabbalah episodes, and you'll get all these graphics. We're going to be using probably same set of graphics. So, and at that, the head of the center, higher than any other, forming the apex of the topmost triangle of seiphiroth, is the sephira Kether, to which we referred in the previous. To quote again the words of Macgregor Mathers, the limitless ocean of negative light does not proceed from a center, for it is centerless, but it consecrates a center, which is in the number 1 of the manifested seiphiroth Kether, the crown, the first sephira. Madame Blavatsky draws from Eastern sources the Tehran, quote, the point within the circle to express the first becoming of manifestation, and the ideas is contained in the rabbinical term Nequita Rasum, the primal point, a name applied to Kether. But Kether does not represent a position in space. The Am Sof Uar. The Am Sof Uar, they're going to throw this term around. Macgregor Mathers also does in his book, which we're eventually going to be talking about, called Kabbalah Unveiled. This term it's like it's God before he manifested in any kind of physical form. This is the most purest version of God, or Elohim, or Jehovah, or Yad-He Vohe, Yad-He Vohe, Yad-He Vohe. The Am Sofer Ur is it's the light. Okay, so if the seiphiroth are emanated from the God and not created, then it's this Am Sof Ur is the place where the seiphiroth are emanated from. It's think of it as kind of like a kaleidoscope or a fractal. It's kind of like a fractured mirror, maybe. The light pouring from the Am Sof Ur is reflected and filtered through these different seiphiroths, like a wind, like a stained glass. That's a great way to think about it, is the stained glass. Anyhow, this Am Sof has been called a circle whose center is everywhere and whose circumference is nowhere. A statement which, like so many in occultism, is inconceivable, yet nevertheless present an image to the mind, and therefore serves its purpose. Kether, then, is a state or condition of existence. We must always bear in mind that the planes do not tower up one above another into the imprene like the stories of a building, but are conditions of being, their states of existence of different types, and though they are developed successfully in time, they occur simultaneously in space. Existence of all types of beings present in a single being, as we realize when we remember that the being of man is made up of a physical body, emotions, mind, and spirit, all occupying the same space at the same time. So this is deep. I feel like I need to get some micro acid or something. We're really pushing the boundaries here. I do not propose at the present moment to go deeply into the nature of any seiphiroth, but merely we're going to do that later though, but merely to indicate the general scheme of the tree, We shall go over the ground again and again, and in course of these pages until a comprehensive concept is built up that can only be done gradually. I agree with this. This is why we're doing different tiers of this introduction, because at a glance at it, and this is what I opened that first Kabbalah episode up with, where I'm like, yeah, I've understood this many different ways over my 23 years of looking at it. So that's really the only, it's I can't explain a way that you'll understand it. I can just explain ways that you might be able to understand it. It can only be done gradually, and if we spend a great deal of time upon an individual point before the student has a general concept, much of that time will be wasted because the bearing of that concept on its scheme as a whole will not be understood. The rabbis themselves apply Kether to titles. Concealed of the concealed. The inscrutable height, hinting that there is not a great deal that the human mind can hope to know about Kether. It is worthy of note that exoteric Judaism, to whose liabilities Christianity is not altogether fortunate heir, does not contain any concept of the emanations or overflowings of the seiphiroth from one point to another. It declares that God made the sea and the hills and the beasts of the field. We visualize this process, if we visualize it at all, as the workings of the celestial craftsman fashioning each new phase of manifestation and putting the finished product in its place in this world. This concept kept science back for hundreds of years in Western Europe. And the men of science had to break the religion to endure persecution as heretics in order to arrive at the concept of evolution, which was explicitly taught in the mystic traditions of Israel. The tradition which the writers of the Old Testament were unquestionably familiar, for their works are full of Kabbalistic references and implications. Going to continue here. I'd like to thank Pastor Larry Solomon coming in to do that reading for us. The Kabbalah does not conceive of God as fabricating creation stage by stage, but thinks of the different phases of manifestations as evolving one from another, as if each seiphiroth were a pool which, being filled, overflowed into a lower pool. To borrow again from Macgregor Mathers, hidden mown acorn is an oak with its acorns. And hidden in each of these is an oak with its acorns. So it's like the Mandelbrot set. You could just keep zooming in on it and getting the same picture over and over again. So each seiphiroth contains the potentiality of all that come after it in the scale of downflowing manifestation. Kether contains the rest of all of the seiphiroth, 9 in number, and Chockmah, the second, contains the potentialities of all its successors, 8 in number. But each seiphiroth, only one aspect of manifestation is unfolded, and subsequent ones remain latent. In preceding ones are received by reflection. Each seiphiroth then is a pure form of existence in its essence. The influence of preceding phases of evolution is external to it, being reflected. These aspects, as it were, having been crystallized out of the previous stages, are no longer in solution in the outflowing stream of manifestation, whichever proceedeth from the unmanifested thought to channel of Kether. Therefore we want to find the essential nature, the basis of manifestation of a particular type of existence, we get it in the sephirah, to which it corresponds when we meditate upon that sephirah in its primal form. For there are 4 forms or worlds under which the Kabbalists conceive of the tree, and these we will consider in due course. There are only referred to now in order that the student may have enough background to see his picture in perspective. The student will find it very helpful to refer to the chapters in The Ancient Wisdom by Annie Besant, which deal with the phases of evolution. We throw much light upon the subject. Let us conceive of Kether, then, as a fountain for which fills its basin, and the overflow therefore feeds another fountain, which in turn fills its basin and overflows. The unmanifest forever flows under pressure into Kether. And then comes a time when evolution has gone as far as it can in extreme simplicity of the form of existence of the first manifest. All possible combinations have been formed, and they have undergone all possible permutations. Actions and reaction are stereotyped. There can be no new development save the combining of the combinations of among themselves. Force has formed all possible units. The next phase of development is for these units to combine into more complex structures. When this occurs, a new, more highly organized phase of existence begins. And all that has already been evolved remains, but which evolves now is more than the sum of previous existing parts, for new capacities come into being. The new phase represents a change of mode of existence. Just as Kether crystallized out of the limitless light, so the sephirah Chockmah crystallizes out of Kether in this new mode of being. This is a new system of actions and reactions which have ceased to be simple and direct and become more complex and tangential. We now have 2 modes of existence, the simplicity of Kether and the relative complexity of Chockmah. Both of these are so simple that no kind of life known to us could he maintain in them. Nevertheless, they are the forerunners of organic life. We might say that Kether is the first activity of the manifestation, movement. It is a condition of pure becoming. Rashlith ha-Gilligam, the first swirlings, the commencement of whirling motions, as it is called by the Kabbalist, premium mobile, as it is called by the alchemists. Chockmah, the second sephirah, is called by the rabbis Mausolith, the sphere of the zodiac. Here we have introduced the concept of the circle with its segments. Creation has moved onward out of the primordial egg and developed the serpent that holdeth his tail in his mouth. As Madame Blavatsky chronicles in her invaluable storehouse of archaic symbolism, the secret doctrine in Isis Unveiled. A similar manner to that which Kether overflows into Chockmah does Chockmah overflow into Binah, the third sephirah. The paths pursued by the emanations in these successive overflowings represent upon the tree of life by a lightning flash, or in some diagrams by a flaming sword. You'll see the lightning flash diagram in that the Intro to Kabbalah plan that you get when you sign into the mailing list. Or I just post them up on Patreon for Patreon supporters. It will be observed by reference to the diagram that the lightning flash must proceed from Kether outwards and downwards to the right to reach Chockmah, and then turns on a level course to the left and proceeds an equal distance beyond Kether, beyond that side, and there establishes Binah as the result of this triangular figure on the glyph. And it is called the triangle of the three supernals, the first trinity, and is separated from the rest of the seiphiroth by the abyss, which normal human consciousness cannot cross. Here are the roots of existence hidden from our eyes. The abyss that Dion Fortune is talking about here is Doth. It's also called the hidden seiphiroth. Moving on, still in the Mystic Kabbalah by Dion Fortune, we're moving on to a chapter called The Three Supernals. Having considered and outlined the development of the first three divine emanations, we are now in a position to obtain deeper insight into the nature and significance, for we can study them in relation to each other. This is the only way to study the seiphiroth. For a single seiphiroth taken by itself is barren of significance. The Tree of Life is essentially a scheme of relationships, stresses, and reflections. It's like a series of checks and balances. It's weird. The rabbinical books may apply curious appellations to the seiphiroth, and we learn much from considering these, for every word in these books has a weighty significance, and none are used lightly or for the sake of idle poetic imagery. All are as precise as scientific terms, which in fact is what they are. The meaning of the word Kether, we have already noted, is crown. Chockmah means wisdom. Binah means understanding. But pennant to these two later seiphiroths as a curious and mysterious third, which is never represented in the glyph of the tree. This is the invisible seiphiroth, Doth, which is also known as knowledge. And sometimes it is shown on the glyph. I have seen many versions of the glyph of the tree of life, the Kabbalistic Tree of Life, and sometimes Doth is shown. It's shown underneath the path that runs downwards, the path of the middle pillar. It's shown underneath it. It's actually pretty cool. When it's not represented on the tattoo I have of it, but in the plan diagram that you can find either on my website or on the Patreon thing or whatever, it is depicted under there because I wanted to be a fucking completist. Okay, so Doth is knowledge, and it is said to be formed out of the conjunction of Chockmah and Binah, and it's situated astride the abyss. Crowley tells us that Doth is another dimension to the other seiphiroth, and forms the apex of a pyramid of which Kether, Chockmah, and Binah form the three basile angles. To me, Doth presents the idea of realization and consciousness. Let us now proceed to elucidate the three supernals according to the method of the mystical Kabbalah, which consists in filling the mind with all the correspondences and symbols assigned hitherto and letting contemplation work among them. It will be observed that these three and their mysterious fourth all contain symbolism relating to the head. Which I'm just trying to think if I should interject or not. I'm going to skip it. Which, in the archetypical man, represents the highest level of consciousness. When we seek in the rabbinical literature to see what further names may have been applied to them, we find yet more head symbolism applied to Kether. This, although not specifically referred to them, may be taken to embrace the other two supernals, also for they are the aspects of Kether on a lower plane. The rabbis called Kether, among other titles, which we need not consider now, Eric Anapin, the vast countenance, the white head, which is not. The magical symbol of Kether, according to Crowley, is an ancient bearded king seen in profile. Macgregor Mather says, quote, symbolism of the vast countenance is that of the profile in which one side only of the countenance is seen, or as it is said in the Kabbalah, in him is all right side, the left side being turned towards the unmanifest, is for us the dark side of the moon. But Kether, primarily the crown. Now, the crown is not the head, but it rests upon it and above it. Therefore, Kether cannot be consciousness, but the raw material of consciousness, which considered microcosmically the raw material of existence, which considered I just doubled up. There is the twofold way of considering the tree. As we have already noted, it can be regarded as the universe and as the soul of man. And these two aspects throw light upon each other in the words of the Emerald Tablet of Hermes, as above, so below. I love how this stuff all locks together when it gets going. I love it. Kether differentiates into Chockmah and Binah before it achieves the phenomenal existence, and these two are called by the Kabbalist Abba. There it is. There's another link. I love it. And the supernal father, and Amma, the supernal mother. Binah is called the Great Sea, the Shahathia, the sphere of Saturn. As we continue, we shall find out that the seiphiroth are called successively the spheres of the planets. But Binah is the first of the emanations to be assigned. Kether is called the first whirlings, and Chockmah is the sphere of the zodiac. Now Saturn is the father of the gods. He is the greatest of the old gods, and were the predecessor of the Olympians, over which Jupiter rules. That's R-U-L-Z. Jupiter rules. He's rad. In the secret titles attributed to the tarot trumps, the path of Saturn is called, according to Crowley, the Great One of the Nighttime. We have then Kether differentiating into an active male potency in Chockmah and a passive female potency, Binah. And these are placed at the head of the two sides, or the two side columns, formed by the vertical alignment of the seiphiroth in their spacing on the tree of life. Of these two columns, the left-hand one under Binah is called severity, and the right-hand one under Chockmah is called mercy. The middle one under Kether is called mildness. This is temperance, and it is said to be the column of equilibrium. These two side columns are the two pillars that stand at the entrance of King Solomon's temple. And all represented in all lodges of mysteries, the candidate himself, when he stands between them, is the middle pillar of equilibrium. We've talked about these pillars many times on the program. Here we meet the idea put forth by Madame Blavatsky that there can be no manifestation without differentiation into the pairs of opposites. Kether differentiates its two aspects as Chockmah and Binah, and manifestation is in being. Now, in this supernal triangle, the head, which is not the father and the mother, we have the root concept of our cosmogony, and we shall return to it again and again under innumerable aspects, and each time that we return to it, we shall receive illumination. These earlier chapters do not attempt to deal with any of the points exhaustively for reasons already noted. For the student unfamiliar with the subject, blah, 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 we're going to skip ahead a little bit. Binah, the superior mother, is distinguished from Malkuth, the inferior mother, the bride of Micropos. Oh, God, I didn't think I was going to have to pronounce this in this episode. Micropros opus, the Isis of nature and the 10th seiphiroth, the two aspected, and these aspects are distinguished as Amma, the dark, sterile mother, and Ima, the bright, fertile mother. We have already noted that she is called the Great Sea, Mara, which only means bitter, but also is the root of Mary. And here we meet again the idea of mother, the first virgin, and then with child by the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit. By the association with Binah in the sea, we are reminded that life has primordial beginnings in the waters. In the sea arose Venus, the archetypical woman. The association of Saturn suggests the idea of a primordial age before the gods that made the gods had drunk at eve their fill. Suggests that most ancient rocks within the shady stillness of the veil sat a gray-haired Saturn, quiet as a stone. Max Heindel speaks of the lords of form as amongst these earliest phases of evolution, and has inspired work in my possession. The Cosmic Doctrine speaks the lords of form and the laws of geology. Considering, again, the symbolism of the lateral columns of the tree, we see Chockmah and Binah as force and form, the two units of manifestation. It would not profit us to go deeply into these endless ramifications of this symbolism at the present moment. So we kind of talked about this doth. I'm gonna hold on. I'm gonna take a break. Hey guys, John here. Hey, I wanted to remind you guys about our new limited series we're launching this month, March 3rd. It's called The American Sermon. It's about the occult foundations of the United States. If you dig this show, you'll definitely love that. One, you'll be able to find it on Stitcher and iTunes and Spreaker and a bunch of other little podcatchers. We're working on submitting them to others. If you can't find them anywhere on where you're listening, you can go to abercast.com. There's a page for it, or you can go to our YouTube channel and find it there. Also, we are launching our first contest. It's called the Vessel of the Art giveaway, and we're giving away a fine glass mason jar with the Abercast logo on it. I'm pretty excited about this. Will be some other swag for sure. Next time you apply, the formula and you mix up your weapon of mass distraction to watch with the show, you could whip it up into this fucking bad boy right here. Right now, all you have to do is sign in to like the Abercast Facebook page and submit your email. You go to abercast.com, submit to the emailing list or the mailing list right there. And once you have those two things, you are entered. We're gonna start doing go live videos on the Abercast page. We've done a couple trial runs so far. We're gonna start doing more of them, and that's where we'll announce the winners. March 20th and April 17th so far. It'll be on there, but these go lives are going on quite often. Don't forget to sign into the mailing list. When you sign in the mailing list, you get access to bonus material. It's usually graphic components of the podcast. And like I said, when you like the Abercast Facebook page, you get access to these go lives and all that stuff that we're rolling out over there. Also, a notification that we have shut down our Patreon in the interest of fighting techno censorship across the galaxy. Produced by the conjunction of Chockmah and Binah. It has been already noted. The supernal father, Abba, marries the supernal mother, Amma, and Doth is the issue. Now Doth is called something curious. Some curious things by Kabbalists. We will note a few of them. In verse 38 of the Book of Concealed Ministry Mathers, says, for father and mother are perpetually conjoined in Yesod, which is another seiphiroth. The foundation, the ninth seiphiroth, but concealed under the mystery of Doth, or knowledge. In verse 40, we read concerning Doth, the man that shall say, I am the Lord's, he descendeth, Yod, is the foundation of knowledge, and the father of all things are called Bayado. That is, all things are applied to Yod, concerning which this discourse is. All things cohere in the tongue which is concealed in the mother. Hey, I guess you could take that two ways. I went directly into cunnilingus. All things cohere in the tongue which is concealed in the mother, that is, through doth or knowledge, whereby wisdom is combined with understanding, and the beautiful path which is his bride, the queen, that is the concealed idea or soul pervading the whole emanation, since it is open for that which proceedeth from itself. That is, doth is itself the beautiful path, but also the inner whereto Moses referred. And that path lieth hid within the mother and the medium of its conjunction. When it is noted that Yod is identical with the lingam of the Hindu system, I'm not going to confuse all this stuff with getting into all this Eastern esotericism. Skipping ahead, the greater holy assembly verse, from the third cavity there goes forth 1,000 times 1,000 conclaves and assemblies, wherein doth knowledge is contained and dwelleth. And the holy place of this cavity is between the other two cavities, which all these conclaves are filled from either side. And it is written in Proverbs, and in knowledge shall the conclaves be filled, and these three are expanded over the whole body, and this side and of that. And with them does the whole body cohere, and the body is contained by them on every side, and through the whole body they are expanded and diffused. When it is recalled that doth is situated at the point where the abyss bisects the middle pillar and that up the middle pillar lies the path of the arrow, and the way by which consciousness goes when the psychic rises on the planes, and that here too is Kundalini. We see that Thoth is the secret of both generation and regeneration, the key to the manifestation of all things through differentiation into pairs of opposites and their union in a third. Thus doth the tree unfold secrets to the Kabbalist. All right, now we're going to flip to Macgregor Mather's book, The Kabbalah Unveiled. And we're going to talk about these seiphiroth that make up the supernal triangle. Okay, so these are all the top triangle seiphiroth, the three. I don't think he does not address Thoth in this, at least where we're going to be talking from. So these are three. This is going to be Kether, Chockmah, and Binah, right? The name of the first sephirah is Kether, or Kether, the crown. The divine name attributed to it is the name of the Father given in Exodus. Ayah! You guys know I love fucking doing that one. I am. It signifies existence. Among the epithets applied to it as containing in itself the idea of negative existence, depending back from it are called concealed, the concealed of the concealed, the ancient of the ancient ones, the ancient of days, macroposios, the primordial point, the point within the circle. Besides all of these, there is another very important name applied to this sephirah. It is representing the great father of all things, Erech Anapin, the vast countenance. Of him, it is said that he is partly concealed in the sense of his connection with the negative existence. Dion Fortune talked about this. This is why you see him from the right side. Hence, the symbolism of the vast countenance is that of profile, wherein one side only of the countenance is seen, or as it is said in the Kabbalah, all of him is right side. I shall refer to this title again. Kether, or the crown, is placed at the head of the middle pillar of equilibrium. Kether, the first manifest, represents the primal crystallization of the manifestation of that which is hitherto unmanifested, and therefore unknowable by us. Concerning the root from which Kether springs, we can know nothing. But concerning Kether itself, we can know something. It may be for us at our stage of development the great unknown, but it is not the great unknowable. The mind of the Magus must compass it in higher versions. In my own experiences with the operation known as the raising of the planes, which consists of carrying consciousness up the middle pillar by means of the consecration of the successive symbols of the path of Kether, on one occasion I touched its fringe and appeared as a blinding white light, which all thought went completely black. So this is, I should have set this up a little bit better. This is an amalgamation. This is a smash up of Macgregor Mather's book, The Kabbalah Unveiled, and also Dion Fortune's breakdown of the seiphiroth, which appears later on in the mystical Kabbalah, which we spent the first part of the episode reading about the supernal triangle and all this. So what I did is I went through and I got clips of Dion Fortune and I got clips of Macgregor Mather's, and we kind of jammed them together. So Dion Fortune's talking about the structure and the paths of the tree and these different formations, or this supernal triangle, and then I'm taking both of them, Macgregor Mather's and Dion Fortune, to talk about the separate seiphiroths, the different seiphiroths. So that was all Dion Fortune stuff. A lot of it, not all of it. It's hard for me to even see the difference between them. But so it's a smash up of them. And I'm giving both of them credit. The virtue assigned to Kether is attainment, completion of a great work. There is no vice associated with this seiphiroth. The whole 10 seiphiroth represent the heavenly man or primordial being, Adam Eloha. Correspondence in the microcosm is the cranium. So we're going to see this. Each one of these seiphiroths are associated with a part of your normal body. Correspondence in the microcosm, as I said, cranium. Under this seiphiroth are classed the angelic order. I'm not going to get into all this angelic order business. They are represented by the zodiac, the 4 signs, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. The bull, the lion, the eagle, and the man. That's represented in my comic book, The Ages, by the way, my graphic novel. Scorpio is a good emblem being symbolized by the eagle, as an evil emblem by the scorpion, and as a mixed nature by the snake. The alchemical symbolism is the commencement, as we heard, is the whirling motion, the premium mobile. All right, the tarot cards associated with this seiphiroth is in great importance to some of you. Tarot cards are the 4 aces, the ace of wands, the root of powers of fire, the ace of cups, the root of the power of water, the ace of swords, the root of the powers of air, and the ace of pentacles, the root of the powers of earth. This first seiphiroth contained the other 9 and produced them in succession. The number 2. The name of this seiphiroth is Chockmah. It means wisdom. It's a masculine, active potency reflected from Kether. The sephirah is active and evident father, to whom the mother is united, who is the number 3. The second sephirah is represented by the divine names Aya, Yah, IHVH, and and among the angelic hosts, we're not going to get into this angelic business. I don't know why I put them in here. It just confuses the matter, and then you have to get stuck into angelology. Every phase of evolution commences by being in a state of unstable force and proceeds through organizations of equilibrium. The equilibrium having been achieved, no further development is possible without once more oversetting the stability and passing through a phase of contended force. We have already seen Kether as the point formulated in the void according to Euclid's definition. A point has position but no dimension. If, however, a point may be conceived as extending through space, it becomes a line. The nature of the organization and evolution of the 3 supernals is so remote from our experience that we can only conceive of them symbolically. But if we conceive of the primordial point which Kether is being extended into the line which is Chockmah, we shall have as adequate a symbolic representation as we may hope to achieve in our present state of understanding. The alchemical symbolism is the sphere of the zodiac. The magical image is a bearded male figure. Its situation on the tree is at the head of the pillar of mercy in the supernal triangle. Its virtue is devotion. It has no vice. I don't think that's right, though. It seems like it should have a vice. It seems like its vice would be greed. I might have to check that out later. I think I might have missed that. Titles given to Chockmah: powers of Yitzhak, Abba, the supernal father, the tetragrammaton, Yod of tetragrammaton. Correspondence in microcosm is the left side of the face. The face. Symbolism, the yin, the lingam, the phallus. There's another connection to everything that's going on. The yod of tetragrammaton, the inner robe of glory, the standing stone, the tower, the uplifted rod of power, the straight line. The tarot cards associated with Chockmah are the 4 twos, the 2 of wands, which is dominion, the 2 of cups, which is love, the 2 of swords, which is peace restored, and the 2 of pentacles, which is harmonious change. All right, here's the last one we're going to get into this evening. The 3rd seiphiroth, or triad, is the feminine passive potency called Binah, the understanding, who is co-equal with Chockmah. For Chockmah, the number 2 is like a straight lines, which can never enclose a space, and therefore it is powerless until number 3 forms the triangle. Thus, the seiphiroth completes and makes evident the supernal trinity. It is also called Amma, mother, Aima, the great productive mother, who is essentially conjoined with Abba, the father, or the maintenance of the universe in order. Therefore, is she the most evident form in whom we can know the Father, and therefore she is worthy of all honor. She is the supernal mother, co-equal with Chockmah, the great feminine form of God, the Elohim, in whose image man and women are created, and according to the teaching of the Kabbalah, equal before God. Woman is equal with man and certainly not inferior to him. This is ancient wisdom, bros. This isn't just She-Ra on Netflix. As it has been the persistent endeavor of the so-called Christians to make her, Ayama is the woman described in Apocalypse. This 3rd seiphiroth is sometimes called the Great Sea. To her are attributed the divine names of Elim, Elohim, and Iava. Elohim. Oh. In the angelic, we're going to skip through the angelic order. She is the supernal mother, blah, 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 distinguished from Malkuth, who is the inferior mother, the bride and the queen. We're going to get to her, this Malkuth business, later. Binah is the 3rd member of the supernal triangle, and the task of its elucidation will be both extended and simplified because we can study it in the light of Chockmah, which balances it on the opposing pillar of the tree. It is never possible to understand a seiphiroth. We consider it apart from its position on the tree because its position indicates its cosmic relationships. We see it in perspective, as it were, and can deduce whence it comes and whither it goes. What influence have gone to its making, and what contributes to the scheme of things entire. Binah represents the female potency of the universe, even as Chockmah represents the male. As already noted, that they are very positive and negative forces and forms. Each heads its pillar, Chockmah at the head of the pillar of mercy, and Binah at the head of the pillar of severity. It may be thought that this is an unnatural distribution. The supernal mother should preside over the mercies, and the male forces of the universe over the severities. But we must not sentimentalize these things. We are dealing with cosmic principles, not personalities. And even the symbol under which they are presented gives us insight if we have eyes to see. Freud would not have quarreled with this attribution of Binah to the head of the pillar of severity, for he has a great deal to say about the image of the terrible mother. Situation on the trees at the the head of the pillar of severity in the supernal triangle. The correspondence to the microcosm is the right side of the face. The virtue is silence. The vice is avarice. The symbols, the Vesica Pisces, which we've talked about on the show, the cup or chalice, the outer robe of concealment. The tarot cards associated with Binah or Binab are the four threes. The three of wands, establish strength. The three of cups, abundance. The three of swords, sorrow. And the three of pentacles, the material works. All right, that went a little bit longer than I expected, but that was it. I've been John Towers. This has been the Abercast, and this has been, I don't know what I'm going to call it, the Kabbalah, Introduction to the Kabbalah, Unpacked, Unfiltered. Ooh, that's good. The Introduction to the Kabbalah, Unfiltered. Everybody, don't forget about the American Sermon. You can find it in a lot of good places, a lot of good pod places. If you're whatever pod catcher you pay attention to, whether it be like iHeartRadio or whatever, you can't find it and you don't want to download another one just to catch a show. Remember, you can always go to our iTunes or our fucking YouTube channel. You go to our YouTube channel, the show gets put up there the day it gets published. So there is that. And don't forget don't forget about our Vessel of the Art giveaway. Right now, all you have to do is like our Facebook page, the Abercast Facebook page, and sign into the newsletter, and you're registered to win the sweet-ass mason jar and some other swag. And the mason jar has the Abercast logo on it. Again, it's called the Vessel of the Art giveaway. We're going to be doing announcing the winner on March 20th and another one on April 17th on a go live on the Abercast Facebook page. So check us out there. We're rolling out these go lives and we're doing it often. We're doing them often. So you're missing stuff out if you're not following the Facebook page. Don't forget to check out the website. There's social media links at the bottom, abercast.com. Sign into the mailing list. You get access to some bonus. Usually it's it's visual components or additional notes to the episodes. And, the Abercast Facebook page, the Abercast YouTube page. You could join us all there. Social media site, website, mailing list. That's it. All right. Out.